Okay, today I'm going to show you a way that you can use to have students turn in projects when it's more complicated than, say, a Google Classroom. Those of us that came from the old building, we know that with the old student server and teacher drives and all of those, we could actually create folders and upload things to there for them to save them. Then it created problems for us if we wanted to grade them off-site because we wouldn't be able to access that. Excuse me, with Google Classroom, it allows us to do all that off-site if we wanted to. But one problem it does have is that if you give an assignment, it's giving it in the form that you created the assignment. So for instance, a Google Doc or a Google slide that they're using as a template to work from. If you did a project that allowed kids to have a little more leeway in how they wanted to show their learning, for instance, if you gave them a project and you said you could use Google Docs, you could use Google Slides, you could build a website, you could make a Google form, any of those things that you wanted them to do to be able to display their understanding of the content, that gets a little trickier to put into Google Classroom or to turn into you. About the only way, the most obvious way to do that would be to have them share it with you, but then you might have as many as 150 students that are sharing their work with you, and you get the emails for 150 students, and then you're slowed down by our 128 megabyte nonsense on our emails. So a way around that would be to use Padlet.com. Okay, Padlet.com, I'll take you there now. This is a place where you can, you have to sign up for it, but you can do that through your Google account. It's very simple. I did another video on this topic of how to set them up and customize them and whatnot that you could look at as well. I won't go into that on this video, but I would create a new Padlet, and as it does that, the way that you could have kids turn things in is that if they're using our Google products, for instance, or a website or anything like that, most likely everything they're using is internet-based, so it will have an internet address. So provided that it does, what you would do, here's one that I did with my class as an example to show them how to do something. If this was something that the kid was going to turn in, I would go up here to File and then Publish to the web. So this would work for any of our Google suite of things, Google Docs, Google Forms, Google Drawings, Google Slides, whatever it might be. It would also work for an internet address that was like a website. You wouldn't need to go through this File, Publish to the web on something like that. You could just use the internet address. But what this is doing is it's creating a specialized address to take them to. So I've already published it, but otherwise what you would see is you would see this blue button that says Publish. This would come automatically highlighted, but if not, you could just click on it, right-click, copy. And then once it would publish it, it would ask you to OK that that's what you wanted to do, and of course you'd say yes. Then I would go back to Padlet. Once I'm here, I would have my students, I would of course set this up so I could moderate it, which was in the previous video. That would allow me to see what they wanted to post before it would go live, because once it goes live, anything that's on there, anybody in the world could see. So as long as you approve it first, you're okay. If you did not set that up, you could run into a problem with, you could run into a problem. So anyway, if I double click on here, it's going to give me a title. So what I would recommend is just have the student write their name. If you wanted to have them write something just to trigger what it was going to be that they were turning in, you could do that, descriptions, whatever it was. This plus sign here, these are all the ways that you can attach things into Padlet, but this plus sign here, I could hit that, and you'll notice the default says link from the web, and it's going to give you this box. If I right click and paste my link and hit submit, it's going to show that. Now all I do is hit OK, and it pops up like that. So this would be a way that as students did that, another student might say, let's say they typed that in and they wanted to add an address. Okay, it could be, if you just did anything, for the sake of showing you, could do that. Whoops, I gotta go HTTP. and then it would show up like that. So if they created a website, for instance, it would show that front of the website. They wouldn't need to do any publish to the web or anything. If it was a Google product like Docs or Slides or whatnot, it would show up like this. Okay, and so then what you'd have is you'd have this whole page of all these kids' links to what they did. So then what you would do is you could just bookmark this Padlet, and you could access it from anywhere that you have an internet connection for grading purposes, or just to check on have they been turning in what they need to turn in. When you go to look at it, if you were to click on this, it's blank. But if I go view original, now it shows the original project that the kids were working on, and you can navigate through it down here. I only have one slide because it was just for an example, but you could see whatever the kids were working on that way. So that's just one way that you could have kids turn things into you that would be all in one spot, so that you didn't have a million emails coming your way, and you wanted a little more versatility than just using Google Classroom. So I hope that helps. Let me know if you have questions.